Welcome back to another video. This week I'm going to be taking you through a nail vlog of what I've been up to since my last restock, and along the way answer some of my most frequently asked questions as a press-on nail artist. So first question, where do I get my nail supplies? I empathize with this question immensely. It took me so long and so many Google searches to figure out where to find products that shipped to me or to my area without paying massive fees. So my main recommendation is to search for the product you're searching for and then type your country or city or state province in order to find a local supplier. The box I'm currently opening is from a Canadian supplier that I found about a year ago, and I buy literally most of my Korean gels from them. So if you're looking for really high quality Korean gels without having to pay massive import fees, I think they ship to both Canada, the US, and maybe internationally. But if you spend $200, then you don't have to pay for shipping at all. So I normally wait until I need a bunch of things and then I place an order, so I don't have to pay for shipping. But their Sweetie nail supply, I just started working with them, which I'm so excited about because I buy, again, most of my stuff from here. So if you want 10% off high quality Korean gels, go to Sweetie nail supply and use the code MINI10 and you can have 10% off. Win-win. When I very first started, I was buying gels off of Amazon, but I have since switched to upgrading to higher quality gels and I have no regrets. So all of the packages you're about to see me open are all from AliExpress, which scared me to buy from initially, but if you're willing to wait a month for your stuff to arrive, and if you're willing for them to sometimes get it wrong, you can get a lot of stuff for pretty cheap. These would just be a couple dollars. So normally they'll package them all kind of in one big package. I'll get a bunch of these tiny little packages together, and so I'll generally buy things like pigment powders that some nail supply stores will charge $16 for, and I can get them for $2. So here I'm just opening a couple different pigments. I've been trying to test out playing with pigments a little bit more recently, so that's been fun. Question 2, what are you using to mount the nail tips onto the stand? It looks way easier than sticky putty. I think I mentioned this in one of my first videos, but I use nail tabs, which is essentially just little pieces of double-sided tape. I will commonly get questions of what brand I use. I have absolutely no idea. No brand. I just bought a big pack off of Amazon or AliExpress. I don't really think it matters. Just some double-sided tape, and those are the perfect size to put onto a stand. How fun is this 3D sculpting gel? I'm so excited to use these. I haven't yet. Quick nail check, fit check before we move on to reorganizing the space a little bit. I've been trying to figure out a way to reorganize my desk so that everything is well within reach and makes sense because I'm right-handed. So I moved my lamp over here to get it away from my desk so I'm not accidentally curing anything or curing my brushes, which I often would leave here, and my lamp was here, and so I was always turning it. So now it's off to the side, which has been okay. And now I want all of my brushes, my alcohol, my lint-free wipes, my most used tools in reach. I literally use this double-sided tape for everything. How cute is that? And now, when I'm here, oh, it's perfect. Question 3, I would like to learn more about how you decide which carrier to use and shipping costs. I get this question all the time, and I totally understand. It is overwhelming. So because I was also incredibly overwhelmed by how to ship internationally, how to accept payments, how to set up a store, I went with Shopify. I just found that they had all of the resources that I needed in order to slowly build an online store and do it in a way that felt legal and that I was following all the rules and wasn't gonna get in any trouble. So you create a product in Shopify, you have to insert its the weight of the product and the harmonized sales code of the product. So when a customer places an order, Shopify will accept the payment and then take their contact information. And when you're ready to ship that order, they will fulfill the item and create a shipping label based off the customer's information of where they live and the information of your product. So the weight, and the harmonized sales code of it, and then create the shipping label directly for you. So you don't have to do any of the guesswork or like weigh every single item you're doing. It's all calculated out for you, and I just find that to be way less stressful. I know some people are really curious to see the back end of things and like how I run the site itself. So I will show that one day. I just feel like I need to do more research to be able to speak to it more confidently, because frankly, I don't really know either. I'm just figuring it out as I go, and Shopify does most of the work for me. Question 4, where do you get your personalized cards from? I design these in Canva, and I have a local print shop print them. I am working on design files for you to download, edit yourself, and then have printed. Once they're done, I'll add them to the description of this video. I was hoping to have them done by the time I upload this video, but here we are. Question 5, I think. I've had this question twice this week, which is super interesting, but it's how do I remove the press-on nail without damaging it to ensure that it's still reusable? So if you look up in the top right corner, these are some tips that I had this exact issue with. They completely fell apart, like half the nail was stuck glued onto my nail itself. And these ones in the top right corner were from a reputable brand, but they were not après tips. And since entirely switching to après tips, I've never once had this issue. I've never had a customer complain about this issue. It's really just a quality matter. You can see here in the top right corner, this is an après tip that I wore. It has glue all over it. And there's just a rigidity and a durability to them that I don't find with other brands. So take it for what it is. You got to pay more to get the quality you want. Question 6, do you use a base coat on your press-on nails? Short answer is no. I do, however, prep the tips by chemically etching them with the Gel-X Prep acid-free tip primer. You can also just manually buff it, but because the tips are a synthetic product, they do not need a base coat. They just need some sort of grippy surface for the gel to be able to stick to. If I'm super lazy on my own nails, sometimes I won't do this step, and you can see in the top right corner that the product will chip or entirely peel off. So fair warning, prep your nails. Next question. I was wondering if you could talk some more about steps that might seem obvious, such as how you keep the underside of the press on paint free. Definitely. It's all about where you position your brush. So you want to be maneuvering your brush in a way that pushes the gel to the top of the tip, but does not hook around the edge of the tip. I'm going to show here what not to do. So there I'm pushing, and then as soon as that brush hooks over the edge, that's when the gel gets pulled underneath. So if you can avoid that, that would be ideal. Obviously, you can always wipe underneath before curing, but you'll get better with practice. It's the day after the hurricane. We're totally fine, but we lost power all day yesterday, so I have to paint all the details of this set onto these in the next few hours. So let's get to it. I think I showed in a clip earlier in the week that I was like rearranging, but I have a fully new setup and I'm really loving it. So all my brushes were moved from over here to over here, so they're within easy reach. I set this little guy up, which he now has these little sticks available, and my palette right on the side. I have my standard sizes up here, and of course my lint-free wipes. How good is that system? If you're wondering why I use two different whites, it's because they have two different consistencies. The D-gel one is quite thick, and so it doesn't have much flow, and this one has a little bit more flow, so sometimes I'll combine them just to get the perfect consistency for painting. Okay, back to questions. Next one is, how do I keep my press-ons from being too thick? No matter what I do, they always just end up like a bubble mess. I feel like this is a very common issue for beginners. I feel like I had this exact problem. My main two words of advice are you just have to keep trying to make those layers thinner. And then the other contributing factor is often if you're using a lower quality gel, there's often less opacity to it. So you need either thicker layers or more layers to get the opacity you're looking for. And so perhaps consider upgrading to a higher quality gel and keep practicing and making those layers as thin as possible. Next question. I was wondering why you decided to do pre-made designs over custom designs, where the customer gives you some inspo photos. Well, I've done both, but I think the main reason I started with pre-made designs is because the thought of managing customer relations and figuring out how to accept the information they were providing me in order to deliver them the product that they wanted seemed like an immense undertaking. The other reason is because when I first started, I was exclusively making BTS themed nails, as you can see here, And so I was making like themed nails based off of like music videos and concept photos that they were doing. And so it just made sense for me to make nails specific to that. Later on, I opened it up to some custom orders. And I think in the future, I might lean more in that direction as well and make more specialized, like event specific nails. But making a pre-made design allows you to practice certain techniques, allows you to batch work designs, and allows you to make designs that you want to make. So there's pros and cons to each. Just a quick note to say, the brush I was using in the last clip was an MPF brush, and this company was the first company to ever sponsor a TikTok video of mine. They totally took a chance on me and gave me full creative control, which was super cool of them. But they were initially a dentist brush company, and then they realized there was a lot of overlap with like the nail world and nail space, and so they moved into making nail brushes, and they're super innovative. They're incredibly high quality, which is why I was so excited to work with them. So I also have a 10% discount code with them that's in the description. Thank you for putting up with my product plugs. Which I think actually leads really well to the next question, which is, do you think you'll ever get to a point where you can do press-ons full-time? So if you didn't know, I have a full-time job, and then I do press-ons on the side, and now I've apparently decided to start a YouTube channel. So life has been a little bit chaotic lately, but to answer the question, it's a bit complicated. I think the answer is absolutely I could if I wanted to paint nails all day, every day. I think that's just where I run into a bit of a wall for myself. I think if I actually had to be sitting down painting nails all day, every day, I would not find enjoyment in the process anymore. So what I'm instead working towards is being able to supplement or surpass my current full-time income by diversifying all the ways I make money with nails. So of course I make an income creating the nails themselves, but then also building up relationships with companies to make affiliate percentages, having sponsored content on TikTok or Instagram. I just got monetized on YouTube, so making a very small income from AdSense. And I mean, like, I put, who knows, 20, 30 hours into each one of these videos, and I'm making like $9 of it, like not a lot of money. So all that to say, I just want to transition safely into this new profession. Next question is, for someone wanting to start a business, what nail shapes and lengths would you recommend purchasing initially? Such a good question, because there are, 5 different shapes and 4 different lengths, and it's a lot of different tips to purchase. So you definitely don't need them all initially. I would recommend starting with what you like and what you wear, because then you can model them, or what do your friends and family wear, and then go from there and see what your customers are asking for. I think too, thinking about what kind of designs you like to do will kind of determine how long you go, but you definitely don't need every shape. Start with a couple and build up from there. Your customers will tell you what they want. Reference, the most popular shape and length in my store is short round or short almond, but again, some people specialize in like long square, so just think about your audience and what kind of designs you're making. Moving on to what is probably the most frequently asked question I get as a press-on nail artist, which is, how do I size my customers? So in my shop, when I sell a pre-designed set, they can select a standard size. So between extra small and extra large in terms of the size of the nails. How they determine what size they are is one of 2 ways. They either measure their nails in millimeters by taking a soft measuring tape and laying it over each individual nail and marking how wide it is at the widest part in millimeters, or purchasing a sizing kit, which is what you see here. What a sizing kit is essentially one of every single nail size in a particular shape. So I think in this instance, I'm making like almond short, and the customer purchases this. I ship it to them. Each nail is noted, or each size is noted on each nail, and they determine, okay, so my thumb is a 2, my index is a 5. They mark those down, and then they forevermore have the nail sizes. Using a sizing kit is pretty much the most accurate way a customer can determine their nail size, even though measuring it, if you measure your nail tips and they measure their nails properly, should align pretty accurately. Sometimes there's just room for error. So I one time had a customer send me their sizes, and I looked at them. I thought, these are really, really small. And I wrote her and I said, hey, just double checking, like, these look really, really small. Are you sure these are your size? And she said, yes, they are. I measured them. And I sent her nails. And then I got an email a couple weeks later saying, hey, I'm really sorry. They are way too small. I don't think I did it right. And it was just one of those situations where it's just, there's room for error and miscommunication. And so you have to be really clear about giving them instructions on how to measure it. And sizing kits really negate that option for error. It does, however, add a barrier to entry. Like before someone can buy your nails, they have to buy a sizing kit, and there's commitment in that. But it just gives everyone assurance that their nails are going to fit. And if you're going to put all that time into making them, and they're going to put their trust and their money into buying them, sometimes it's worth the investment. And you really only have to do it one time. Next question. Where are the drawers on top of your desk from? So those acrylic drawers in the corner, people ask me about all the time. I was in HomeSense one day, and they were just on the shelf for like $25. I have found the exact set, and I've linked it below in my Amazon. They're selling it for like $150 on Amazon. I don't recommend buying that, but it will then hopefully give you reference for somewhere maybe you can buy it locally. But the brand is Size Max. Next question is, how many sets do you sell in a given like drop or restock? This entirely depends on my time. So I will determine what I have coming up. If I'm like have a trip one weekend that takes away all the time I could have worked on nails that weekend, I will assess how much time I have available, and then I'll set a certain amount of nails to sell. So I have something on my website that limits how many sets can be sold in a given drop. So I'll set it to like, 15 nails or 15 sets, and then if someone buys one of one set, all of the sets go down by one in inventory. So I know I'm never overselling in a given time period. I'm just now realizing this might all sound like a lot, and it kind of is, but you don't need to have it all figured out when you start. You just need to start, and as you go, you'll slowly figure these things out. Like I only learned how to limit my inventory probably like 3 or 4 months in, because I thought, this is kind of a problem. Like, what if I oversell and then I'm not able to fulfill my orders in time? So I hope all these details aren't stressing you out. You can figure it out as you go. And hands down, the fastest way you're going to learn is just to do it. Just get in there, get your hands dirty. And if you have questions, just come to me. I'll try to answer them. I might not know, but I can try. I've been talking for a really long time, and I'm sure there's so many more questions. So I would recommend watching my first video I put out, which I'll link here. If you haven't seen it already, it gives you a lot more in-depth of like how I actually run through making the press-on nails themselves. And please continue to leave questions in the comments. I've been living, laughing, loving reading them, and I'll continue to try to answer them as we keep going. So thanks so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you soon.